Um, have you got caught up on Mandalorian season 3 yet?
I finished it. I did.
Nice. Nice. Um,
Oh,
I will say that my disappointment with season 3 is immeasurable. I did not like it really. Um, yeah, I just feel like they have a real problem with setup and payoff. Like at the end of season 2, everything was set up. Like maybe we would have gotten an actual duel between like Mando and Bo-Katan, and like Mando would have had to gone through a whole season without Grogu, and then reunited at the end of season 3 instead of in the that other show. Um, but yeah, I didn't like it. I felt like that the ending was rushed. The finale was a bit rushed. It felt it felt a lot like the Rise of Skywalker, which I forgot to ask you about last time, and we're gonna get to that this time. Trust me. But so, and what I mean by that is specifically with like the cloning of Moff Gideon. Like I felt like we've been led to believe that the cloning was for Snoke or goddamn Palpatine and not
yeah.
Moff Gideon, because why? At least to my knowledge, why would I expect Moff Gideon to be cloning himself? I haven't seen or noticed any clues anyway to him himself being cloned until like the last 3 episodes or whatever. So that kind of came out of nowhere, and then now all of his clones are dead, and he had this like badass suit for like 5 minutes or something,
Yeah.
and then he's lit up on fire and supposedly dead. And here's the best part, right? His base was in Mandalore the entire time. The entire time. So,
Yep.
uh,
And guess what? The people, the Mandalorians that were there on their little ship thing, skiff, whatever it is,
mhm,
they had no idea.
I know.
They've been there the whole time and they had no clue.
And then like when they're like running through the, it was so weird because they're like running down throughout Mandalore, and then all of a sudden they turn the corner and they're in the hallway of Moff Gideon's like complex. They're wait, what? Huh? Is this show being for real right now? there there was like there was some build up, like, yeah, the mines below are very dangerous, but I never ever thought that he would like that is how that would end up playing out. Um, and then forgive me if I'm like missing something, but there was, I don't think it was a post credit scene, but kind of like a little snippet after the whole episode. One of them, I don't remember which one it was, but the X-wing pilot, the Ranger, I forget his name. He was like flying around in space, and he comes across one of those Imperial shuttles, and he notices that it's like destroyed, and there's some Beskar in there, and like that kind of seemingly went nowhere. I think.
Yeah, so that happens, I think it's like episode 5 or 6.
Hmm.
It's actually a little bit before that Moff Gideon is, it's actually a little before all that. So you're kind of they're I think they're trying to lead you to believe that it's the other Mandalorians, the one that Bo-Katan kind of goes and she, for whatever reason, they're just chilling on Jack Black's world, and she goes and she has this fight with the leader, which again, like, I just feel like the entire premise of the show was always meant to be, in the beginning 2 seasons anyways, especially in the first, was meant to be, and I believe, I'm kind of jumping around, but I believe the who's the main guy that made the show, um
Dave Filoni, John Favreau.
yeah, John
Uh,
Favreau. He loves spaghetti westerns, and so that was what the whole thing was supposed to be based on, was a spaghetti western. Well,
mhm.
it couldn't have gotten more away from that in season 3.
Yeah.
Season 3, like you said, at least give us like an epic battle between Mando and Bo-Katan, where she takes the dark saber and she wins it fair and square. But no, it's like, well, Mando just kind of out of nowhere. Well, she saved me, so at the last moment possible, I'm just gonna all it doesn't mean anything to me. It's like a piece of crap. No, it's like it's a really cool weapon
Mm-hmm.
that anyone would love to hold. Like anyone, even if you don't respect it, like it's a freaking cool thing. So I just think that they have Star Wars in general right now, as far as their movies and TV shows, they have a problem. Like you're saying, it's the setup and the delivery of really anything. I would say season two, they did a great it was yeah, season two. They did a great job with spoiler alert, Luke coming in and saving the day, and I think that was a really emotional moment for the community because after the Last Jedi, everybody kind of just really doubted Luke Skywalker in general. So bringing him back like actual Luke was really special to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But like you mentioned, Moff Gideon's been there the whole time, baby. He has this secret base and he spreads all this disinformation saying that the mines are really dangerous, man. You better not go down there, man. And there's this cloud of gas that's blocking all the transmissions and it just
You know what would have made his return even better? If someone
what?
said, somehow Moff Gideon returned.
Oh, why didn't they do that? Oh, but like that would be great. But I think my biggest, and it's kind of going along with yours, my biggest disappointment of the whole thing, it's like, because that's what it was really leading up to. All of season two is, we need to retake Mandalore. We're the Mandalorians. And essentially all of season, we need to go back to our homeland and all this stuff. And then, like you said, you have no idea it's happening until they're down in the caves and you see this very imperial looking corridor,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh, I know where this is going. We are watching Star Wars after all. And then like you said, Moff Gideon's suit. Why not save that for season four? Why not do a big build up with Moff Gideon, and he has this badass suit and have this big epic fight at the end of season three. Like you could have done really cool things there,
Mm-hmm.
but it reminded me a lot of the way they supposedly got rid of him, in the fire.
Yeah.
It
Mm-hmm.
reminded me a lot of when Thanos drops a moon on Iron Man. Like, let's just drop a star or a I don't actually know what the ship is called.
Light cruiser.
A light cruiser on. Let's just drop a light cruiser on his head. He'll die.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything less. And this leads into another trope that I personally hate, and maybe it's just me. But you have this setup, and you have the villain, and then you have the main guy that's supposed to fight him. And maybe that's just my way of thinking. I absolutely hate, and I understand storytelling, sometimes it has to happen differently, but I hate when they do exactly what they did. Mando is like fighting him and struggling, and then at the last second the second person jumps in.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be like a mono type thing. That is the Western thing. And if you really are going for that, like, don't have Bo-Katan come in at the last minute and then the dark saber gets smashed, and then
Yeah.
like her whole like purpose for living and ruling, Mandalore was the dark saber,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just like that, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
She uses it for a total of maybe 20 seconds, and then
Yeah.
it's gone. I don't know if that bothers anyone else, but that bothers me in TV or shows or movies or whatever you want to call it.
Definitely. Yeah. I was. I had two feelings about when Moff Gideon literally crushed it in his hand. Like, first of all, come on. Second of all, I am like, I have very mixed feelings about it. I feel like, one, I am disappointed it's gone because there's a lot more to do with it. Not just because it looks cool, but because of storyline and, like,
Oh yeah.
metaphorical stuff and whatnot. But I'm also very glad because now we don't have to like keep like retconning how the dark saber works,
Right.
because that kind of seems like what they're doing. Like they're trying to adapt these things from like the animated shows, and it doesn't seem like they have a good grasp on how to go about it, especially the dark saber. Like it feels like they keep like resetting how it works, and then yeah, they just don't seem to have a good handle on what to do with that part of it. So I'm I'm more so glad that it's gone because that's another kind of contrivance that I don't have to worry about anymore. But again, it went nowhere in the third
Mm,
season at all. So yeah, so why even have it at all if it's just gonna be destroyed in a meaningless way? I think.
right. I think people in general, and I'm speaking for a whole community here, but maybe I'm wrong, but I just think people in general are sick of the quick and I will say painless ending,
Mm-hmm.
just like we got in season 3. I personally am tired of it. Like you have so much, supposed setup and you have to assume that they've had this on paper for at least 2 or 3 years. So is that really the way you're ending this? And I don't know if there's a Mando season 4. I actually don't know. Maybe you can tell me if there's not. But you have all this on paper, and then at the very end, you're just gonna like, let's just, that's not how any of it has functioned up to this point. Every season, it doesn't have to function that way. I understand that, but does that make sense what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it
no, I
just,
get it.
you have it on paper, dude. Like, do something different than just, I don't know.